FM 94, The Dark. JC hanging out with you here, and it is time to get to know another band we play here on The Dark. And on the phone right now, I'm talking with Clinton Cunanan. And Clinton, first of all, where are you calling from today?
America. We're calling from America right now. Right now, we're currently in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Worcester, Massachusetts. And, of course, you guys are touring right now, and we should mention that you're with the band Another Lost Year, and you guys are out and about right now, huh?
We're out and about. We are Another Lost Year. We hail from Charlotte, North Carolina. We've been a band for about 3 years now, a little over 3 years, man. Just kind of doing our own thing, man.
Hey, since you mentioned you're from Charlotte, North Carolina, let's get into it right away. And how did this band Another Lost Year all come about?
We met on ChristianMingle.com. No, I'm kidding.
I was just going to say, wait a minute now.
It started. Excuse me. It started on a rainy Tuesday in 2011. Actually, I met Adam, our rhythm guitarist, and Mike, David, our lead guitarist, and I had been in a band together a couple years prior, and everything just kind of formed from that. Man, we'd all been in bands before, and just decided that we wanted to try something different, a little bit different than what we had been doing, and we wanted to get really serious about it. So we put our heads together and made some cakes and decided to be a band.
Now, obviously, you said you're from the Charlotte, North Carolina area. You guys big race fans, then?
Oh my God, man! Does everybody ask that question?
I gotta ask that question. The reason.
No, I know, man. It's so typical. Everybody's like, "Oh man, you guys are from have to be racing fans." We're from the NASCAR capital of the world, man. Honestly, we've got the NASCAR Hall of Fame. We've got Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's huge, man. But it's like anything, man. If you're from Omaha, you hate the College World Series because of the traffic that it brings in town. And if you're from Charlotte, you absolutely do not like race weekends. There's about 4 of them that you just try to stay away from Charlotte at.
So you're saying you're not a race fan, then?
I am saying that I do not like living anywhere near the racetrack.
That's funny. A few weeks ago, I talked with Hugo from Tantric, and he's from Louisville, Kentucky. So I'd ask him about the racing down there. And I've talked to some other guys too. I'm trying to remember. I talked to somebody from Indianapolis too, and they had said same thing, pretty much same thing. You get stereotyped into where you live, don't you?
You really do, man. And the thing is we're from the South already. So people think we're slow in general. But you start going to NASCAR, and people start talking to me. I'm like, look, man, they make all left turns. It's not that difficult. Hey, I'm not discounting anything that NASCAR drivers do. I asked a NASCAR driver friend, and they're in really great shape. But, I just that's not my thing. Hats off to some of those guys who do Indy racing and stock car racing in the same day. Some of those guys are driving 1,800, 2,000 miles a day, dude, just racing cars.
Hey, at least you're bucking the trend from being from the South. You're not playing country music, at least.
Oh my God! Here we go to that, dude. Being from the South, man, it's difficult to say that I don't listen to country music, because honestly, I do listen to country music. It's one of the only places that you get to still tell a story at. Mm-hmm. But we never set out to write any type of music in general. It's just what we write is what comes out. Some of it's heavier rock, some of it's, lighter rock, some of it could be, I don't know, baby making music, whatever you want to call it. I don't care.
Kind of leads into my next question, Clinton. We're talking with Clinton from the band Another Lost Year. Influences, background. How did you come up with all the music, and where did the influence come from?
Man, I am a huge Aaron Lewis fan. I'm a huge Ben Burnley fan.
Okay.
I'm a product of that post-grunge 90s alternative. Gin Blossom's Better Than Ezra Live. Those bands. More recently, I'm a big A Day to Remember fan. The new Mike and Men album's great. But really anything that kind of, if I hear a song and it reaches out to me, man, it's going to influence me in some way or the other. And that's kind of what we try and get back in our music. We want people to be able to connect and relate to it and kind of take our words, take my words and the music and make it their own and make it their own story. And that's, I think life is my biggest influence out of anything.
Right on, right on. I wanted to get to know a little bit more about the name Another Lost Year. Is there a story behind that? How'd you come up with the name?
When I was in the Army, man, I was stationed at Fort Bragg. I was on the 82nd Airborne Division, and obviously I didn't have a lot of time to do music, and you don't get to be in a band because, your obligations to the U.S. government there, Uncle Sam. And I just kept losing years, man. So I kind of wanted to dictate that in words for a name. And your brain remembers things in a series of 3, so it's 3 words, another lost year. It starts with an A, so by the time you get through, chances are when you're going through your media list, when you're reading alphabetically, you make it all the way through the A's and generally through the B's, and then you start skimming through the C's. So, another lost year. There's a little bit of psychology that went into it.
Very cool, very cool. We're talking with Clinton from the band, Another Lost Year, and obviously you guys are on tour right now. How's the tour season going for you? And in fact, before we chatted here on the air, you said you've been out on tour for the last 3 years. How has that been? Has it taken a toll on you?
It's been interesting, man. It's got its ups and its downs. Every night you're in a different sound. I've seen things that most people never get to see. I've seen the Alamo, Niagara Falls, the Arch of St. Louis. I climbed a mountain in Arizona. We stayed an eighth of a mile from Juarez. We've had typical Vegas trips. I've seen a waterfall in Wyoming. I've seen all kinds of stuff, man. It's incredible, but on the other hand, it's extremely lonely. You're confined to this 2x2 square space in the van. And, it's tough, but at the end of the day, if music isn't what you love, I saw something the other day that said, "Don't do music because you want to. Do music because you have to." And that's no words have ever been truer, man. And it really hit home with me. But touring is it's been great. We've toured with the best, man. We've been out with Candlebox, Seven Dust, Trap, Sick Puppy, Saliva. Insert any of those bands, and we've been out with them. But, each show is its own thing, man. It's a lot of people think that when we're up there on stage, that's actually our job, and at the end of the day, that's actually the payoff of the job. The job is everything leading up to those 30, 45 minutes or an hour that you're on stage. That's your reward. That's my reward. That's what I do it for. But honestly, man, I don't think I could ever really do anything other than tour for the next few years, man. It's been incredible, and I think I've still got any good year left in me.
Now, obviously, you guys probably don't get a lot of choice on who you're going to tour with. Am I correct on that? It kind of gets put together.
It's kind of, I don't know, man. We have some say in it, not a lot of say. I mean, obviously, some of the bigger bands they dictate where we go, but we've been offered a couple tours where we turned them down, not because we didn't have anything better to do, but just because we didn't feel like it was such a good fit. But we have some say, not as much as we'd like to, but that's just because of the size band that we are. Obviously, if we became Shine Downsize or whatever, then we can say, you're coming on tour with us. Let's do it.
Reason I asked that question, it leads into my next question. My question is, if you had to put together a 3-bill tour and it's Another Lost Year, who are the other 2 bands you would like to be hanging out with and having a tour with?
Man, I'm gonna talk to my guys here real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Bill, Another Lost Year. Who are the other 2 bands? A Day to Remember and Breaking Benjamin were exactly what I was going to say, and that's what David has chimed in with as well.
Okay, well, we can probably work A Day to Remember. How are we going to get Breaking Benjamin back together?
Well, Breaking Benjamin, the rumor is that they are working on a new album right now.
Right.
That's the rumor.
I've heard that rumor too, but I know Ben and the rest of the gang not getting along too well. So are they maybe getting along now, or
I can't say
right
what's going on in that camp. I can only speculate, and I think that he's kind of reformed a few new members. I know that Hollywood had offered him like $1 million to do a new album, and he just kind of turned it down. I mean, money's not relevant to him.
No, and I think with Ben, and actually with Ben, doing a little reading on him, I know that he's had some health issues in that, more on the psychological side. So I think that's what he's been trying to overcome over the years.
Yeah, that what was it, the Phobia album?
Exactly.
Like all his fears.
Yep.
I've Wikipedia'd him as well. It's not like I pick up the phone. Ben, what's going on? But I know he's had some problems. He used to be a heavy drinker, and I think he's kind of clipped that. But he's had some ramifications from that. All in all, man, I actually had Dear Agony, which is the last album. I had the title track played at my mom's funeral. Man, I've got it tattooed on me. I've got A Day to Remember tattooed on me. But if he's listening, if he were to listen, I would beg him to please do it, and I will carry his gear, every night for him. Whatever he needs, I'll do it.
You know what? I guarantee same thing. I'll do whatever I need to do too, because we need that band back, don't we?
We got a mighty so bad. I need Breaking Benjamin in my life.
Hey, we're talking about another lost year right now, and I'm going to ask you a few other questions, maybe off the wall here a little bit. Maybe not so much off the wall, but what would really make me scratch my head and go, boy, that's in Clinton's music collection? What's going to shock me that you listen to?
Oh, man. Right now, I have been on this huge Elton John kick.
Okay.
Sir Elton John. Let me correct that. Sir Elton John. And honestly, man, we were talking about country, but I'm really getting into Brantley Gilbert's new album.
Okay.
Which is not country at all.
No, not at all. Nope. No.
That and yeah, I definitely my go-tos are better than Ezra and Jim Blossom, stuff like that.
Okay, I gotcha. You're getting a little help from the guys in the bus, aren't you?
Adam's he's talking about something. I'm not really paying attention to what he's saying, but I'm kidding, man.
We're talking with Clinton from Another Lost Year, and let's talk a little bit more about your stuff. You currently have a new song out called Cop Car. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but I want to kind of go back to your debut album, Better Days. And actually, I was turned on or found out about your music. We got it sent to us back, I even had the date here, February 26th of 2013, Writing on the Wall I received. And we started spinning that. Was that one of the first songs that kind of helped you guys out a little bit?
Writing on the Wall was the second song off our Better Days debut album. And it did really well, man. Adam and I wrote that song when we were in Los Angeles in 2011. And we were just sitting in the hotel. We were staying in Inglewood. I'll never forget. He had booked us a hostel. And it was $7 a night. And I looked at him and I said, dude, we're not staying in a hostel, man. I have seen the movies. I've seen Hostel 2. I'm not doing it. And so we ended up staying in Inglewood, which is a very friendly place if you're familiar with L.A. And we just sat in the hotel and wrote Writing on the Wall. And, there's a line in there that says 1 year down, still waiting, and that was actually about my mom. But Writing on the Wall definitely helped us kind of get more of the pop crowd into it. War on the Inside was our first single off the album, and it was a lot more heavier than the rest. But Writing on the Wall is definitely a big fan favorite. There's nothing I love more than hearing people sing that song live.
You mentioned fan favorites. How are you received out there in general public?
Man, like I said, we've toured with all kinds of bands, from Seven Dust to Dope to, we even did a run with 3-6 Mafia, no kidding, back in February. And, it's like anything. You can't make everybody happy,
right?
But at the end of the day, once people, they see us, we have true 3-part harmonies, like we get down. We're known for our live shows, and more importantly, what we're known for is being super friendly with everybody. And I think a lot of people come back to the shows because they like hanging out with us. We're not one of those bands that like to hang out on our bus or anything like that. We don't have a bus anymore. We have a van.
Yep.
But we love to be interacting with people because, if I have to spend so much time away from home, away from my family, away from holidays and all these other things, then I'm going to make it worth it. And the point of music for me is music actually saved my life. So if I can do anything in my power to reach people who, maybe not necessarily are reaching out for help, but you just know there's something about them where they need, they need a smile, they need a hug, they need a high five, they need some of the words that I have said to impact their life. And that's what music's about for me. That's what the live show's about. Like I said, man, I think that's why we have so many repeat customers. I'm air quoting repeat customers because they're not customers, but we don't have fans; they're all friends. But it's definitely something, man. When we get to a town and you just see tons of people already waiting for us just to say hey and spend a couple of minutes talking with us, man. It's truly incredible.
Very cool, very cool. Here's another question you might want to ask the guys, and this is a question I like to ask every band. You guys are a younger band, so you don't have a lot of music, but here's the deal. You have a song, or for that matter, songs, and somebody wants to cover that song. Which artist would you like to have cover one of Another Lost Year's song?
Holy cow. All right. We have an artist cover one of our songs. Which song is it, and who is it? Jason says Three Doors Down.
Okay.
Seven Dust and Broken. Adam says Seven Dust and Broken.
Okay.
Jason goes Three Doors Down to Into You and I, which is on our new album.
Okay. Okay. What are you thinking?
Man. I don't really know, man. That's a tough question. That was a super tough one. God almighty. Adam said Jamiroquai. Forgot about us.
You know what, though? The funny thing is, I've asked this question to everybody that I've interviewed. A lot of people go off of different genres. I've had rappers, I've had country music stars, I've had pop people. I mean, it's crazy because, you know, you guys sing your own genre of music, kind of the rock side. So you want to maybe hear a different version of how somebody's spin of your music is.
Yeah, no, I do, man. That's such an on-the-spot, tough question, dude. Like, that's a really good question.
Well, it'll give you something to think about down the road. So when one of your songs is really huge and becomes popular, then you're going to have to say, hey, we need to get Katy Perry or Pink to do this one or something.
Oh, my God. Dude, Katy Perry doing one of our songs would be incredible.
You never know.
I get to watch her do it. Oh.
There you go. There you go. We're talking with Clinton from the band Another Lost Year. And now let's get to your new song, Cop Car. And we're playing that here right now on The Dark. What do you talk about that song a little bit and what inspired it?
Well, it's funny that you asked about the cover song because Cop Car was actually written by a group of writers in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even funnier that you talked about the country thing because for those people who don't know, Keith Urban actually made this song famous. And we were down in Orlando recording with Brett Hessler, who did, he was in Creed, does Dark New Day stuff, I Empire. He just finished with Raymond Hanley's album. He did Raymond Hanley's Lollipop.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just kind of sitting there one day with nothing to do, and I said, you know what, man, let's try something really different that's not us. And we were listening to Cop Car, and we loved Keith Urban's version of it, but he missed so many harmonies. They missed so many add-ons in that song, and we were like, we're going to take this song and we're going to make it our own. So we actually contacted the writers of Cop Car, went through the proper channels to make it our own, and we actually started recording this thing, man. And once we got done, the management team of some of the writers got a hold of it, and they're floored. So we have a couple conferences with those guys coming up to kind of see what's going to happen, but we may be doing some cross-pollinating with Keith Urban on this song and some stuff like that. But, it was really interesting because at the time when the song came out, our original drummer, Lee, he was going through, he just had a baby, not him personally, but he just had a baby last week.
Mm-hmm.
And, being in a band, you get into all kinds of mischief. And, there was one time in particular where we were being detained in the back of a cop car. And more importantly, the last 2 weeks that Lee was touring with us, we had just released a song. And that was kind of the story that we told about it. I fell in love with Lee in the back of this cop car.
Hey, have you had a chance to talk to Keith at all about the song?
We have not. They've been super busy with the Country Music Awards that just happened last week in Nashville, and then he just finished up with American Idol.
Right.
So we're hoping that this conference next week is actually going to bring us all together.
Very cool. It's funny because last week I had a chance to talk with Letters from the Fire. Have you ever heard that band?
I have not.
They actually did a cover of the Beatles' Eleanor Rigby song. And
wow.
it actually is just hit the top 50 in active rock this week. So you might want to check, or last week it did. So you might want to check that out. And then you mentioned also Lollipop. I had a chance to talk to Nixon a couple months back, and he talked about how that song, even though they're known for it, that song really did help them get to that next step in their career.
Well, it was Nixon's been a big supporter of us for a couple of years, man.
Right.
We used to be with New Ocean Media, Doug Weber, which
Yep.
him and Nixon are best friends. And Nixon's a good friend of mine, or Doug, and he's become a really good acquaintance of ours.
Mm-hmm.
And he grabbed me the other day. We were playing with him the other day, and he grabbed me after our set. He started talking to me about it. And he's like, it was one of the smartest moves you could have made, and I think Barry Lyons, which is doing our radio for us now, I think Barry.
Yep.
He kind of talked to me about it as well, and it just kind of seemed, like I said earlier, it was one of those songs that was It's a beautiful song. It's perfect, but we just wanted to make it our own.
Right.
And kind of going back with Brett Hessler, who did Lollipop and stuff like that, it just seemed like the perfect natural fit. Keith was finishing up with American Idol, so there's all this movement behind the song on the countryside, and then, you know, we came out with it. So we're hoping that it does the same for us, man. At the end of the day, we just wanted to kind of pay homage to a great song, and we didn't realize the effect, how people were going to receive it. So we're happy that we did, because it shows a different side of us and
right.
You know, what we're capable of doing. But we're definitely hoping that it does something for us to move us to the next level. I'll never forget, we were with Freeman Hanley like 2 years ago, and somebody said Lollipop. He's like, you know, we write songs too.
Yep.
Kind of crack up about that.
Well, and that was the one thing Nixon did say. It was a blessing, and it was also a curse. A blessing because it got him known, but a curse because that's all they thought that was the only thing they knew or did. So, you know, and now obviously with his new song "Criminal" coming out, doing very well on the charts. They are definitely coming back again, which is great to see.
Oh yeah. You know what's even cooler about this conversation right now, though, is the fact that how small the music community is.
Oh, yeah.
And a couple of years ago, man, just like talking about some of these people, and now I have conversations like, oh, yeah, man, I know that guy. We were just chatting the other day.
Absolutely.
I would listen to conversations on the radio with interviews or watch VH1 Behind the Music or insert whatever show.
Right.
Just like, man, how do all these people know each other?
Oh, yeah.
It's you realize how small it is.
It is a small little circle, and my job here is to get people out there listening to your music and finding out about this band, Another Lost Year, and I want you to tell us how we can find more about Another Lost Year.
Obviously, you can find us on all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouPorn, YouTube. You can find us on
I love that.
The World Wide Web, www.whoisaoy.com. You can keep up with our tour schedule. It links you to our YouTube. We do like news broadcasts. We make commercials for Paul Reed Smith guitars.
Nice.
I mean, we just do the most ridiculous things ever, and that's what we're known for, man.
You want to have fun. It's not a job. It's supposed to be fun, right?
It really is, man. You know, it's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we put in, me personally, I probably put in 30 hours a day working. I don't know how that's mathematically possible. But, you know, I actually, I do this thing called reverse sleep, where I think I'm snoring, but I'm actually standing. I don't know how that works either. So it's,
You didn't try it for Last Comic Standing, did you?
No, Josh Blue, that guy's hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, boy.
It's a lot of work, man. It really is. And, you know, not just the music side, the photographers, the radio guys like yourself, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to kind of chat with me about this.
You know, it's funny that I kind of got back into doing this with younger bands is because back in my era, and this is going to date me a little bit, but when I was in college radio, we'd get stuff in all the time, and you'd be looking at it and like, oh, okay, we'll play it. Well, I got stuff like Nirvana's, you know, I got Green Day, all this stuff, and started spinning it, and now look where they are 20 years later.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping like a band like yours, Another Lost Year, might be one of those down the road again in 20 years.
I'm hoping the same thing, man. I really am. It's
hey,
music is in a very fragile state right now, man. It's something crazy to be a part of right now, to kind of see all the pieces moving, and you know, it's kind of a changing of the guard, because you know, every couple of years there'll come a band that just kind of takes the scene for everybody, and it's, you know, we're approaching that time, not us personally, but you know, we see all these bands out there, and you're just like, one of these bands out of this group is going to be one of the next. So it's really cool to see. Hey,
I'm assuming you've been on tour for 3 years. You've been up to Minnesota, haven't you?
Funny story about Minnesota.
Okay.
Yes, that cop car story came from Minnesota, but yes.
So the question is, are you allowed back in? You're not sure.
We have a couple dates booked in Minnesota that I will not be driving at all. I will be in the very back of the van, and we better be doing the speed limit.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that, those dates coming up here. I'm assuming you don't know them right away off a hand here, but we'll definitely, we'll find out what they are, and we'll get those on the air for our listeners, okay?
For sure, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, speaking of that, it's time to play your latest song, Cop Car. You got any other thing you want to say to your fans out there?
Nah, man. Just it's a classic love story of man and woman who fall in love in the back of a cop car. Something that we've all experienced.
Hey, Clinton, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, man.
Once again, that is Clinton. He's from the band Another Lost